Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user TWIntroX. Am I the a-hole for not telling my ex that I am married? I had a weird situation happen last weekend and was hoping to get perspectives on if what I did was wrong. My wife and I were near Seattle last weekend visiting my family. We are both in our early 30s and are happily married for 4 years, together for 6. We went to a bar on Saturday with a bunch of my friends to catch up. When I was going to the restroom, I felt a tap on my shoulder and to my surprise, it was Jen, my ex. Jen and I dated for 4 years in our early 20s. Jen left me because she wanted to explore herself and since I was her first boyfriend, she felt like she was missing something in life. I was very happy with her, and I had a job in tech that put us on a very stable financial path. I was probably a few months away from proposing to her. I was heartbroken, and it took me a few years before I could start dating again. Although Jen and I stayed friends for a year after the breakup, I went no contact with her so that I could move on and never talked to her since then. My wife knows about all of this. Back to the incident. Jen tapped on my shoulder and I was surprised to see her. She hugged me and we exchanged pleasantries. She was there with her friends and they were all sitting at the bar. I knew most of them. They also came to say hello. We chatted for a few minutes before I felt like I needed to end the conversation. We mostly talked about what I was doing back in my hometown and how we have been. I abruptly told her it was nice to see her after years and that I need to go back to our table as I am out with my friends. She said okay and I quickly turned around. To my surprise, my wife was standing right behind me. My friends identified Jane from our table and my wife came to stand next to me. I told my wife what a weird coincidence and took her hand and went back to the table. When I sat at the table, all my friends started talking about Jen. My wife seemed visibly uncomfortable about the situation. I tried to change the subject, but I learned that Jen married someone a few years ago and they got divorced last year. She moved back to our hometown so she can stay at her parents' house until she figures things out. My wife seemed really interested in Jen's life and asking a lot of questions, while I was just trying to avoid the whole topic. When we were driving home, my wife asked me why I didn't tell Jen that I was married and that she was my wife. She feels I should have introduced her to Jen so that Jen can see I am happily married to my wife. I told her I was just trying to end the conversation as I went no contact with her a long time ago and I prefer to keep it that way. My wife asked me how I felt after seeing her after a long time. I told her that I was surprised since I was not expecting to see her, but to be honest, I felt like she was a stranger. I told my wife that I did feel sad that things didn't work out for her. My wife was upset because she felt I should have introduced her to Jen. She felt that Jen hugged me for too long and I should clearly have told Jen that I was married and have a lovely wife. My wife feels she came all the way from the table to stand next to me and felt slightly insulted that I did not include her in the conversation. From my perspective, I was just trying to get out of the conversation and don't see how it would have helped anyone. The issue became worse the next morning when Jen sent me a friend request on Instagram and also messaged me on my phone saying it was nice to meet me. I feel that triggered my wife and for some reason my mom, who went on a rant about Jen because she hated Jen when we were dating. That made my wife very happy. My wife feels that I did not communicate clearly to Jen that I was married and that was the reason why she messaged me the next day. I rejected the follow request on Instagram and also did not respond to her message. However, a part of me feels my wife might be right and I did something wrong here. Am I the a-hole for not telling Jen that I was married and introducing her to my wife who was standing right next to me? I just wanted to get out of the conversation and was in a hurry to end it. Well, Opie, in my opinion, yeah, you kinda were the a-hole because it would have been super easy to just say you were there with your wife. Here's the thing, you ended the conversation with Jen saying that you wanted to go back to the table because you were there with friends. But you were there with your wife, not just your friends. So you could have actually ended the conversation by saying, you know what, I have to get back to my wife, she's at the table with my friends. Nice to see you, bye. Turn around and leave. Also, did you know your wife was there with you? Because at the beginning of the story, you told us you turned around and to your surprise, your wife was there, behind you. But then you told us that she was next to you. So did you know she was there or not? Because I'm kind of confused about that part. I feel like you're leaving something out. But regardless, I think you just need to apologize to your wife and be sincere about it. I understand the interaction could have caught you off guard or like put you on the spot or something. But still, you omitted your wife, that hurt her feelings. Apologize. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's go check out the community comments. Plastic Concert 4916 says, I don't understand how you spent time catching up but didn't bring up your wife once, even if it's just by insinuating, by using we instead of I pronoun. I'm married, and it's natural to say we without even thinking about it. We're visiting the family. We just bought a new house. It also seems natural for you to have told your ex, I have to get back to my wife, instead of I have to get back to my friends. Like, you were with your wife first and foremost. Hopefully, she's not an afterthought to your friends. And if you truly wanted to end the conversation, your wife was a built-in excuse. Sorry, I really have to go. My wife is waiting for me. I do find your behavior kind of odd. Is there a chance that, at least subconsciously, you didn't want Jen to know you were married? Salted Caramel Cookie says, you're the a-hole. Why did you let her hug you that long and stayed for a conversation so long your wife had time to come over and try to assert her place in your life, then act like she was no one special? My husband's ex tried to hug him and his best friend died laughing at how fast he dodged that, even when he was telling me the story later. You have sadness? You're not fully over it. Damn right Jen thought you were available. You didn't tell her otherwise or elevate your wife properly in that situation. Your wife should be mad at you and now you've made her completely feel insecure. Congratulations! You made her feel like a dirty secret to an ex you claim you have no feelings for because, guess what? You should not have cared that it would have hurt Jen's feelings to know that you are married. But you did, and deep down, that's the real reason you ran like a coward. And 30 Helens Say F Off says, you don't want to keep in touch with Jen. You're going directly back to no contact. That's why I think you're not the a-hole. It doesn't matter if Jen knows you're married since she is not in your life even a little bit. It does sound like your wife has some insecurity about the relationship, which both of you should address. It comes from somewhere, even if you aren't the root cause. My advice as a random internet weirdo is to make sure your wife knows you completely support her, but also that you're concerned that this encounter upset her so much. Communicate that if you'd known it was that important to her, you would have introduced them without a problem. You just didn't know, and it's totally fine that you didn't know. She shouldn't assume that that was the only correct thing to do. It's a pretty small thing right now, but it's the kind of thing that can grow if it has the chance. It's better to figure it out now. Alright, so the community was giving OP some mixed responses. However, the most upvoted comments were the ones calling OP an a-hole. And as we can see by that third comment, some people were telling OP that he wasn't the a-hole, that if he would have known that it was this important to his wife, then he could have done something about it. I still think OP could have mentioned that he was married and there was no harm in that. Anyways, OP did not respond to any comments or give us an edit, which means we move on straight to the update to see how the story ends. I wrote a post a few days ago regarding bumping into my ex, Jen, when I was on a trip to my hometown. My wife saw me talking to her and came up to me, and like an idiot, I forgot to introduce Jen to my wife. My wife was a bit upset that I did not tell Jen I was married. Thanks to everyone who commented and let me know unanimously how stupid I was during the whole interaction. So we came back home yesterday, and here's how it went. Although my wife seemed to have gotten over the incident, I decided it would be best to apologize to her and let her know that I did not have any wrong intentions. It was just a deer-in-a-headlight moment for me, and I should have introduced her to Jen. At night, when my wife was scrolling her phone in bed, I decided to bring up the topic. I told her that I wanted to apologize for the incident on Saturday. I know I messed up royally, and I should have introduced her to Jen so that she can see that I'm happily married together. I told her that I was just surprised to see her, and I really wanted to get out of the conversation as soon as possible. My wife said it was okay, and she saw how flustered I was when I was talking to Jen. She said that when Jen saw me and hugged me, everyone at the table started staring at us. One of my friends, Rita, made some scandalous comments regarding what Jen was doing schmoozing with me. My wife had never seen Jen's picture and it took her a while to realize that it was Jen. She thought she would stand next to me, and once I tell Jen that I am here with my wife, she would leave me alone. However, when she stood next to me for more than a minute, I did not notice. Jen noticed her and gave her a dirty look. Once I turned around to go to the table, she was hoping I would introduce her to Jen, so Jen knows she was my wife and not some random girl standing next to me. However, I just hurried back to the table with her. I again apologized to her and told her that from my perspective, I was just trying to finish the conversation and get back to the table. In hindsight, I should have done what she said, but I froze in the moment and was not thinking straight. She again asked me why I was acting so weird around Jen. I wish I had a better answer, but talking to Jen just felt wrong, and all I was thinking was I need to get back to my wife. I asked her if she felt bad that I was talking to Jen or that she hugged me. She told me that she has always been curious about Jen since I was so close to marrying her. And when she saw me around her, she felt I was still acting like how someone acts around their crush. Moreover, she saw Jen and realized how beautiful she was and felt insecure in that moment. My friends making a big deal out of it did not help either. She asked me if I ever wished Jen did not break up with me. I told her that if I had a time machine, I would wish 100 out of 100 times that Jen would break up with me so that I got to meet my wife and build such a beautiful life together. This made her smile and she gave me a big hug. I asked her if I should message Jen and let her know I am married. She said there is no need to do that since my profile picture on messages is a picture with my wife and Jen should have seen that already. Also, my Instagram is public with a lot of pictures of my wife and me, so she asked me to just ignore her message and get on with our lives. Again, thanks everyone for being so brutally honest, as I would expect from Reddit. Well, OP, I think this is a positive and happy update. You were able to have a proper conversation with your wife regarding this whole incident and everything was cleared up, so communication wins again. Thanks so much for sharing, OP, and here's wishing you both the best in the future. Now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user ICPanda1807. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't go to my son's wedding that I was re-invited to? I will try to be as clear as possible. This is about my son Ryan. When Ryan was a senior in college, he informed me one of his one-night stands told him she was pregnant. I informed him that he should get a DNA test to be sure that he is the father. So he did that, and when the result came back, he started to date her since he was the father. The woman, Shelly, has never liked me. The first time I'd met her, she made a comment about how I must think so little of her to convince Ryan to get a DNA test. The relationship started on a horrible note. Shelly integrated into the family and our relationship didn't warm up. Overall, I just avoided her for the most part. I was civil at events, but we were not buddies. They got engaged about 2 years ago. Then, around last Halloween, Shelly was telling the family I was saying horrible things about her. I wasn't. It was my word against her, and my son gave me an ultimatum. He said that either I apologize or I won't be invited to the wedding. I refused to apologize for something I didn't do, so I was uninvited to their wedding. At Christmas, Shelley told the family that if I was invited to the family Christmas celebration, then they will not go. Big drama, and the family split the festivities into 2 days. My sister and husband have been on my side for all of this. Now, the wedding is in 2 weeks, and I received a call from Ryan last night. It boiled down to that Shelley admitted to lying to him, that she saw how sad he was that I wouldn't be at the wedding and told him the truth. So he re-invited me to the wedding, and I told him I am unsure and will think about it. I don't want to go to the wedding for a few reasons. I don't support the wedding. I don't wish to be around my future daughter-in-law. I am very mad that she did this in the first place. My reputation in the family has been affected by her lies. And finally, she hasn't apologized. The truth is getting around to the rest of the family, and options are now split. Some think I would be a jerk for not going, and others think I am justified in not going. Also, I am unsure if I want a relationship with Ryan if he is with Shelley. Ugh, OP, this situation sucks, and Shelley sounds like a toxic drop in the family bucket. She made up a lie that hurt your son, tore the family in half, and she apparently is refusing to apologize. She was demanding that you apologize through Ryan and his ultimatum, but she's not willing to do the same. I don't think you're the a-hole if you decide not to go. Honestly, I probably wouldn't go either if I was in your shoes. I might just tell Ryan, you know what, I'll catch the next one. Or not, that sounds a bit harsh. Anyways, no, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole if you decide not to go. Shelley does owe you an apology. And I have to say, I don't know if your son is spineless and he just allows Shelley to control and manipulate him, or he's just got really thick rose-tinted glasses. Anyways, what do you guys think? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Brief Horror says, son, I want you to think about exactly who you are marrying. She lied about your mother, demanded an apology, affected your mental health, and now hasn't even had the decency to call the family or me to tell the truth and apologize. She did all that because I wanted you to know those children were yours when you had no relationship with her to cement trust. If you want me there, I want an apology at minimum. Honestly, the divorce is around the corner. Sad but true. This is going to fester like a rotten boil in his mind unless he really is that callous of a person. Aggravating Pain 9249 says, Shelley and OP have not gotten along for a while. Shelley lied and there was an estrangement of OP from her son that split the family. A wedding is not a place for a reconciliation. If Ryan wants to reconcile with his mom, he and Shelley need to start talking to OP on neutral ground and take it very slowly. OP was hurt. She was defamed by Shelley and deserves an apology. But Shelley should also apologize to the family for spreading these lies. OP, tell your son that the wedding is not the place for a reconciliation, and if he wants one, after learning about Shelley's behavior, other things have to happen, not the a-hole. P.S. You were right in asking for a paternity test. I would counsel any male who had a one-night stand with a woman and then found out of a pregnancy to do the same. And Gone Baby Thoughts says, not the a-hole, but Shelley will hold this over your head for the rest of their marriage if you don't go. Don't give her the ammunition. And OP responds, I'll live. Seriously, all I have to do when she brings it up is tell her she lied to everyone and it's her fault in the first place. Not to mention, the whole family is not happy with her for lying since it affected Christmas and gave drama for no reason. Alright, so the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and that line about a wedding not being a place for a reconciliation, absolutely agree. So now, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. I have decided not to go. I don't believe it will be good for me, and I will explain to Ryan why I am choosing this. I also don't think a wedding is the time to reconcile. It's not even pride. I'm not comfortable to be around her at all. I don't want to be in the same room as a two-eyed snake. I have zero trust that she won't do something at the wedding. I also will explain that receiving no apology from either of them factors into my decision. However, I am not going to demand an apology in order for me to come for two reasons. One, if I demand it, then it probably will not be genuine, and I want her to do it on her own volition. And two, apologies aren't worth anything if they are doing it for the wrong reasons. Also, she is a grown-ass adult and should know that when you wrong someone, you need to apologize, not hide behind Ryan. It's sad to say, but my perspective of my son is ruined. He is an adult. He will need to take the first steps to fix this, not me. I'll see them at holidays probably. I don't have the time to be a Cutterbook grandma anyways. I still have kids that live at home. Ryan has two siblings. One is in college and the other is graduating high school soon. Additionally, I know I can't be around the grandkid alone. It would take a single life from her to ruin my life. She already proved to be a liar. She could easily claim I am a child abuser. Finally, it's common sense for a one-night stand to get a DNA test. She wasn't married to him or even dating. It's common sense. This person I am not in a relationship says they are pregnant. Let's make sure it's mine. Common sense. Opie's edit. For anyone that was asking, my husband already didn't plan to go. His siblings will make their own choices and his aunt isn't going. I don't know about the rest of the family. Well, Opie, I think you're making the right choice. And I know this may sound a bit defeatist, but I get the impression this marriage isn't gonna last that long. In any case, Opie, here's wishing you the best in the future. Take care and thank you for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.